I've always equated mountain rescue troops, boys and girls, to being misfits because they want something else. My name's Sylvester. I joined in 1983 and I served for 31 years. Primarily, I served most of my time within the RAF Mountain Rescue Service, although my trade was in communications. I spent my last 10 years as a warrant officer working from High Wycombe in the AMP briefing team and was part of ComSec. And then my final tour was at the Defence Academy at Shrivenham. I originally started my climbing and walking with the Scouts. And when I joined the RAF, there was a signal came through looking for volunteers for mountain rescue. I did my trial, as everyone does. Happily, I was successful. And I went on, say, to do 21 years. I did over 20 expeditions around the world. I became team leader at Leeming in 1995. And in 2001, I led the biggest team in the RAF at Kinloss. It was 1995 to 1999, serving at Leeming, where I really cut my teeth as a manager. You know, you've got your experience within the mountains, but it's how you look after your troops. And working with the likes of yourself, Paul, and the wonderful boys and girls, the volunteers of the Mountain Rescue Service, you can't do it without you. The one thing that magnetizes all the troops together is the mountains. And yes, the mountain rescue, their responsibility is the rescue and recovery of passengers and aircrew from downed aircraft. But most of our time, thankfully, we're supporting the local civilian mountain rescue teams, rescuing, searching and recovering people from the British mountains. So I think that's what brings together the type of person that not only wants to join the RAF, but also wants to serve within the Mountain Rescue Service. If you're working as an individual or you're working with a group of boys and girls that maybe you haven't got that much in common with, and you look at it today in the 2024, lots of people, Xboxes, PlayStation things, we never had those when we joined in the 80s. But what brought us together was that camaraderie and the purpose. It wasn't just about going out and climbing the beautiful mountains of the United Kingdom, but it was that get the call out, get on that rescue. And the feeling of elation when you actually bring somebody off alive because of your team's direct action. It's such a privilege and honour to have served so many years. Very sadly, we had to recover the remains of the people who never made it. But the fact that we found these people and then very respectfully carried them off the mountain to return them to their families, it gave them closure. And very sadly, I've been, there's several call-outs in the Highlands of Scotland where those people are still missing today. Not for want of trying, but purely there's just no evidence on where to search next. So it is rewarding, but it's also very heartwarming as well. Now, over the last 7 years, I've been presenting my adventures to lots of different schools around the United Kingdom, 142 last season, all about the comparisons of my experiences in Antarctica, in the Himalayas, the Mountain Rescue Service, and some of the other challenges that I've achieved. When I got promoted to warrant officer in 2004, I was posted to High Wycombe, and I was fully aware that the RAF had never been to the South Pole. Using all of the experiences and contacts that I'd picked up over the previous 20 plus years, I put together the first unsupported attempt on the geographic South Pole. And by hook or by crook, we successfully made it on Christmas Day in 2006. So the experiences I learned there, I now relay into our schools. So the boys and girls who may be not having the best starts in life, they might not be even going outside their town or their village, I show them through not only my photographs, but by getting them dressed up in the equipment we used in the Antarctic, but giving them the opportunity to ask lots of questions. And I just love it because these children don't know who I am. And 3 hours later, they've all become South Pole explorers. It's so rewarding. I love it. And that's what I still do today. 20 plus years in mountain rescue is wonderful. What you don't realise while you're in the services is just the skills that you've picked up. Management, that's great. Leadership, yeah, that's great. Communication. If you can communicate those things that you've been taught by the heroes of mountain rescue, by the old warrant officers in the RAF, and we'll say some of the commissioned officers because there's some better than others, you can transmit that to our younger generation and prove to them there's a world beyond the Xbox and the PlayStation. And a lot of these kids, they believe in it. And, well, it's working so far. It's uncanny, Paul, but I've got more connections with the RAF Mountain Rescue Service troops than I do have within the communications. I've got some wonderful, great guys I know from comms, but having just been to Scotland, I've visited 4 guys who I've served with over the 20 plus years. But here we are, 20 years later, and I'm still in touch with them now. We have a brotherhood. Now, brotherhood, whether a boy or girl, is unbreakable. Everyone looks after each other. Most people who I talk to within the Royal Air Force have lost touch with the majority of their guys and girls they work with. Within Mountain Rescue, my Facebook page has something like over 800 contacts, and I'd say 90% of them are RAF Mountain Rescue. Paul, we're in touch today, and we served in 1995. That speaks volumes, like 29 years ago. So it is something that will be with us for life. And as our troops get older, we look after each other, and that's what our family is all about. You only need one phone call, and you might not. I mean, I hadn't spoken to you, Paul, well, I saw you at the Remembrance Parade a couple of years ago. I saw you, big hugs. It was like I saw you yesterday. Yeah. That's about being a veteran and being part of the family. It's wonderful and something that I'd never ever change.